people in the room.
Super excited to have you here, Marc.
Thank you. And one note, if connection is bad, if I lose connection, I have a backup. I'll go get it, and that's on also in case I lose connection here as a backup, because it's sketchy sometimes, the reception. So I have a backup plan.
I love that you have a backup. Fantastic. That's very smart. Fantastic.
Thank you, Marc. Hello, everyone.
Always have a backup plan.
I love it.
Good to see you, Jeff, from the East Coast. And then I see we have a lot of new faces too. That is Marc's friends and family. Welcome, everyone. Awesome. Glenn, nice to see you again.
You too. Good to see y'all.
Hi, Glenn.
Too.
Hello there.
All right. Well, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. And then if there's any people joining in later, which I know they often do, we can add them in as we go. So a couple of Zoom rules for those of you who are new to our Lunch and Learns. Oh, hold on one sec. There we go. Adding new people. All right. Couple Zoom rules. Please mute yourself when you are not speaking. We recommend speaker view for presentation. Video sharing is optional, though we love to see all your smiling faces. And please type all questions and comments into the chat. We have an amazing guest speaker today, and we will have a Q&A at the end with him, so you can feel free to ask any questions that you'd like directed towards our guest speaker. A quick update from Autism Tree. We have now reached over 594,000 through our social media channels. Thank you to everyone who has been following us on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and so on YouTube. We constantly post new updated content for our children and families. Our posts have been shared now over 1,018 times. Thanks for everyone who is sharing our content. We now have 396 videos on our YouTube channel. So subscribe today if you haven't yet. It's lots of fun. We've posted 343 of those videos since March of last year, which is incredible. So thanks to everyone, all of our program managers, volunteers who have been submitting these 1 to 5 minute short videos of what they can do with our kids and families at home, different arts and crafts and so on. We also have a Reading with Autism Tree series where our volunteers read children's books to our kids. And we have 107 of those videos posted and reached over 50,000 people just through that series. We've also provided 262 virtual events to date. We have 19 programs that we are offering virtually. We have 23 events coming up between now and next month and the end of next month. So there's lots to get involved in. If you'd like to learn more, you can always reach out to me as well. So without further ado, I will pass it off to Dana Hoff, our co-founder and volunteer executive director. She's going to be introducing our guest speaker.
Hi, TPF family. It's such an honor to be here with you today and to celebrate that we are now in our 56th Lunch and Learn. And we've been doing this together for over a year during this global pandemic. And a lot of really beautiful things have come out of this very difficult time in our world. And one of them is just connection with new people from all over. And I think that's one thing that leads Rebecca and I to want to definitely, with the support of the chairman of our board, continue doing Lunch and Learns. Is we love that connection. And today I want to give an extra warm welcome to anyone that's on here for Marc. He's such a light and has such a wonderful story. His story, I think, could actually be a movie, and I'm only on like page 1, I feel like. But I certainly like page 1. It has me really captivated, Marc. I think, the heartbeat of Autism Tree is we all want to see more opportunities for everyone in the world who's neurodiverse. And I just feel like sharing with you that Rebecca and I have been working really, really hard, and you're going to start seeing on our social media starting today. We are launching our first ever Global Neuroscience Conference, and I want to share that with you guys right now. We just added our last distinguished keynote speaker that's in the top lineup with our chairman, Dr. Motri, who has the largest autism lab in the world. Our moderator, Dr. Roger Bingham, who's won 7 Emmys and is located in the Salk Institute right here in San Diego. And I'm going to keep the last speaker for a surprise that Rebecca and I brought on an interview today. And we can't be more excited about her. She's out of the East Coast, Jeff. And she's just wonderful. And then I think you might or might not know that our keynote speaker wrote a book called The Pattern Seekers. And if you haven't heard of it, you might want to Google it because that's our keynote at the conference this year. We welcome you to give us any ideas as we are currently building the conference still. The 2 most important things that Autism Tree does is build an Autism at Work panel of CEOs and people that are very involved in autism at work. That is a really important panel at the conference. And so we're still working on that, as well as we're working on the autistic panel, which Jeff Snyder, who's on the call, has been part of, and I know is going to help us on our committee this year to find an excellent living autistically panel. So with that, I just want to kick off everything, give everybody a warm welcome and say how excited I am for us all to learn from Marc today. Marc, we usually always start off with a fun question. You can answer it or not. Everyone can type it in and then we do a follow-up email. But before we do the question, we have a fun video, 1 of 2 about Marc. We're going to do the first one before we do the question. So here it is.
I was diagnosed with autism when I was 52 years old.
1 to 1.5 million Americans live with autism. It's the fastest growing disability in the United States.
I went to these doctors, John Hopkins, supposed to be the best doctors in the United States, and they said to my mother, lock him up, he'll be a vegetable. My mother said, you lock up your kid, not mine. She found another doctor called the Doctors for Human Potential. So that was the first step to getting me on the road to becoming what I am today.
I love those photos of you and your family, Marc. They're so beautiful. The question today is, what do you dream of doing? Marc, these are short answers. Do you have, I think I know yours, but do you want to answer it for fun?
Yes, helping and guiding others like myself to have a productive life, and my newfound career that I stumbled upon, acting. So those are the 2 things that basically fuel me at this place and at this time, at this moment. Yeah.
I love it. Rebecca, I'm going to let you answer too. I always do. You want to answer yours?
So what do I dream of doing? And I want to shout out to everyone. You can type your own questions into the chat as well. But I personally, I would love to be like Marc and become an author maybe of my own book someday. And also currently, now that I'm working with Dana at Autism Tree, creating a wonderful community and keep growing this community on an international level too. So that's my dream, kind of aligns with what we're working on already.
I love that. I'm counting that as a blessing today. Thank you. Okay, I think we have one more video is next, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And this is about Marc too, which is great.
Recently, I had the opportunity to interview Marc Pulver, another autism advocate.
I was born in Miami, Florida in 1958, and I came out here to pursue an acting career and to mentor others on the autism spectrum and other related disabilities, because LA is a huge community for that I can fit in to do that. This is what I'm here to do, to help them educate
others.
Mark went on to tell me more about his personal life growing up and how he found out about his diagnosis.
At a very early ages, I was diagnosed with brain damage and other things in my life and given medication for that because at about 6 months, I was not excelling at the rate of other toddlers at that time, and I was just taken to different doctors, which were no help. I went to this rehabilitation up in Philadelphia where a program was implemented, and every 3 months I had to go there for an evaluation, and each time it got a little bit better and better. I began to make sense of life, being able to communicate better and understand things better, and basically go to school, graduate, find a job. But in a lot of ways, I was still not up to speed on different things. I didn't still have quite the awareness that most people had, but I continued to grow and to learn different things and to learn how to read people and to analyze people and to make better choices in life. And it wasn't until 2010 that I had to go for a re-diagnosis for insurance purposes that I was autistic.
Mark also went on to tell me that he wrote a book called Living Life with Autism, The World Through My Eyes. Mark shared with me a quote that he cannot recommend anymore.
Autism is not a death sentence. It's just a roadblock. Go down another path to meet your success.
I recommend you check out this book to learn more about him. And thank you, Mark, for being a guest on my YouTube channel.
I love that, Mark. I love your videos so much.
Thanks.
Rebecca, are you bringing up the, I'm not on the screen right now. Okay. Yeah, those are fantastic videos, Mark. You come across so strong and your story is your own and it's so powerful. I'm just extraordinarily touched at your courage to come to Los Angeles and pursue acting. It's just, you know, you got your Autism Tree family behind you now. And I picked out a quote for you today. I do that for every speaker, but I want to bring up the one I picked out for you today.
Okay.
The path from dreams to success does exist. May you have the vision to find it, the courage to get on to it, and the perseverance to follow it. And I know that you're doing exactly that, Mark, and we couldn't be prouder of you. It seems crazy that this was back in April. It feels like we've known you a lot longer than just a few short months. But I think that's because we're kindred spirits and we're all, you know, very committed to, I think, the whole thing, like Rebecca said earlier, of opening doors on a global level. And the reality is we've been at it 18 years over here at Autism Tree. And this is, you know, I think that what Rebecca was speaking about feels really in color to her because we're doing a global neuroscience conference. So it isn't like we're talking about dreams that aren't realistic. I think, you know, it's happening. So it's perfect timing, Mark, to introduce you today and just tell you how very, very proud we are of all the progress you've already made, and that we will continue to be here to support you and be your fan club from here forward. So with that, the floor is yours today. Thank you for being here.
Okay, it is an honor and a privilege to be here, and thank you for everybody who is here today to partake in this wonderful, beautiful event, this Autism Tree project. You know, I want to start out by saying I was at a party, a relative's 90th birthday, and I just had a I don't know what it is, but something was pushing me to write a book because of the fact that, hey, I've done so many wonderful things, but yes, I was labeled autistic. How could that be? And even I learned something through the years of being disabled, because growing up in the late 50s, early 60s, a lot of the people were considered and discriminated and outcast because they were disabled. They couldn't hang around regular kids without any neurological disabilities. They couldn't go out with them and socialize, whether it is riding on the bus with them, in the class, in the classroom, on social activities, on recess, sitting in the lunch room. You'd go to sit down and people would put their hand on the chair. No, you can't sit here. You can't sit here. Walking on the bus. No, you can't sit here. And it just makes you feel, why am I even here? And it's just to the point where you go through the day like that, day in and day out, and you don't really want to get up the next day and go through the same thing and the same torture. So fast forward 50 years. This is about this is like 2009 when I approached my cousin and says, I'd like to write a book, and knowing that he's a retired English professor, he probably has some good insight, and just give me some pointers on how to write the book. I said, what do I do? I want to write the book. How do I go about it, about my life? Okay, I'll give you 2 things to start with, and the rest, it's up to you. Tell them where were you born and your name, and the rest was history. So I just spent basically a period of 4 months, whatever I was doing, in addition, I would spend maybe 2 hours just knocking away at the computer. I started writing it in an email, and then my cousin says, I have a better way that's going to be more proficient. You can save it, and you don't have to keep sending individual emails. So I learned that time how to use a word processor. And also we had a way, in addition, to communicate with a little messenger. He would say, okay, you're stuck. Okay, add this or expand upon this or go into more detail about this subject. So just basically going forward with that, I want to move into about bullying. People should really never be bullied. Everybody has the right to live a life and to do the things they want to do, disabled or not disabled. There is a list of people that are disabled. Rebecca, would you like to read off a couple people on the list that I gave you?
Yes, Mark. Mark sent me a list, everyone, of famous people, and I will include it. We do a follow-up email after our Lunch and Learn that has a lot of resources from our guest speaker. So I will include that, Mark, in the recap email that we will have.
Okay, great. So I want to move on to parents on how, yes.
I know that you had 2 topics in mind that you really wanted to talk about, and the first one was about the parents. So yeah, go ahead and share with us your thoughts on that.
Okay, parents, I feel, should always be there for their kids. I'm not a parent, but I don't believe this rule, once you're 18, you're out of the house, and you do it on your own, and we never see you again. That's not good parenting. I mean, unfortunately, we're not given a guidebook on how to parent our kids, unfortunately. However, the idea is just to use a lot of common sense, use love and passion, kindness, and understanding from the heart, and nurture your kids, teach your kids. I mean, being overprotective is one thing, but when you're overprotective to the point where you won't let your kid, because he's disabled, set one foot out his front door because you don't want anything to happen to them, that can be a little bit, that can do some serious psychological damage to the kid's psyche, saying, oh, I can't do this because I'm disabled. And a lot of parents, unfortunately, do that. I'm not saying that they have ill intentions in mind. But what I am saying, parents need, to let their kids fall and make their own mistakes, be there to guide them. But there's a fine line. There's a thing of not caring at all. Whatever they do is fine. They get into trouble. They get into drugs. They even get arrested or even killed because of the bad choices they made, disabled or not disabled. There's plenty of kids that are have no neurological issues, unfortunately, that go, because a lot of times the peer pressure, go down the wrong road and go down the wrong path, which means consequences for them are dire. A parent needs to set guidelines and boundaries. And if the child wants to do something that's productive and that could add good things, that could add color to their life and to do great things and to add and be a part of society, wherever it is, whether it's in here, Florida, China, Egypt, then let them do it. They're gonna fall a few times and they're going to make mistakes, but don't hinder them. Don't hinder them to the fact where their psyche is forever damaged and they don't want to try anymore.
Yeah, it's about building their self-confidence, right? Through
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point.
Yes, you got that right. Yeah.
Well,
That's definitely true.
you also wanted to talk about negativity and how we don't want to let that get in the way of our dreams. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your thoughts on that?
Yes, you have friends and you have family. Well, really, they're not friends. And what kind of family members? And I know that it has happened that would tell your kids, you can't do this because of this. You'll never be able to do this. All you're going to be for the rest of your life is a floor sweeper or a dishwasher, because this is the way you are, and it's never gonna change. That is really, that is really for nobody else to decide but you at all. I don't care who it is, but that's no reason, that should never happen to anybody, where you're told you can't do something because you have a disability. I mean, you can't learn to drive a car, or you can't go out and get a job, and you'll never have your own place. It should be where if you can't really do something, that's one thing, but at least try to do it. Get out there and try. Negativity can be somebody's worst enemy, and I don't wish it on anybody. Be positive, be focused, and know what you really want to do in your mind, what you really want to do in your heart. And so, I mean, don't let anybody stop you at any time, at any cost. Anything is attainable as long as we're living and breathing here on God's green earth.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, so
everything is attainable.
Uplift each other, right, Marc?
Right. We have to, everybody should uplift each other. I'm glad the world is finally seeing the light with the fact that in 1998, John Paces is the director of Performing Arts Studio West in Englewood, which I am a student now, and that's what I'm doing. And it's a continual thing for people with disabilities, and I happen to be lucky. There's 100 of us. He's got 100 students, and I'm one of them. Not everybody gets accepted for one reason or another, but I believe the people that are truly passionate about wanting to be in film, whether it's acting, theater, music, dance, we have the opportunity. there was a time where you had to be born, into a family that their parents are already delved into the entertainment business, just like being born into the world, or you're born, into that psycho and ecosystem into somebody, and you go through the ranks and you get the training because of the parents. Otherwise, it is a very, very tough business at one time to get into. That's changed over the year. Now there is a huge demand, especially you have all these other, not just the regular TV and networks, but you have all these companies. You have Netflix, you have HBO, Hulu, and Amazon, and always right now for people with disabilities, there is a huge, huge demand. And because of COVID, nothing was happening for over a year and a half. But now finally, LA, the state finally opened its doors, yesterday. And there's just a huge array of opportunities for people, especially with disabilities, that want to be in the film industry. Here I am, and glad to be a part of it all, and this is my new home in Los Angeles, California. And I'm very happy, proud, and I'm honored and thankful to be here, and I have you guys support and whatever I need in the future going down the road. Just can't be more said enough, more thankful and grateful to all you guys, that are supporting me in my endeavors here, with my wanting to help others and in the film industry.
Marc, your story is really inspiring. One of the things that Dana and I were really touched by and were moved by was that you grew up in Florida, with your mom, and you moved out to LA, which is a huge cross-country trip, and you had the courage to do that, to follow your dream. So you're the perfect example of what happens when parents and can let their kids venture out and discover the world for themselves and create an independent life for yourself, which you really have done. And I know that you wrote, your book is called Living Life with Autism, The World Through My Eyes. And Marc was generous enough to share it with me. I highly recommend everyone check it out. I'll include the Amazon link that you can go check it out. But I really love the supportive family that you have. Not only there, it includes links from your mom, and she was like not accepting that her child would have any less of living a full life than anything. So shout out to your mom, Marc. There was a quote from your book that said, "You can never stop learning," which I really loved. And then to see that you're living now with your cousin, I believe, Jeff, who I think is on the call. Hello, Jeff, welcome. And we're so excited to have, you here. And I know that Marc spoke such high words of praise to Jeff, and that you're very close as brothers. So
that's actually my brother that's on there with his wife Margot. I have a cousin Jeff that I'm living with, but that's my brother Jeff. Just to clarify with that, that's my brother Jeff that you're looking at. My beautiful, handsome brother Jeff there.
Thank you for clarifying, Marc. Welcome, Jeff. Okay. Love it. Well, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to questions for anybody in the audience who wants to ask Marc a question. I have the first question. Marc, how did you feel after you learned you have autism? I know it was later than most people. You were diagnosed when you were 52, I believe.
Yes.
So in what ways did it affect your life as well?
Well, I was actually happy about it. You know why I was happy about it?
Why?
I was happy about it because I knew I was going to write a book, a story about it. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I decided this is what I was going to do. And then also, my cousin Bob is is here too, is if he wants to expand a little bit on that too. He's in the audience too, my cousin Bob.
We encourage any of Marc's friends and family, if you would like to unmute yourself and say a little something, we welcome it.
Cousin Bob, are you there?
Yes, I am, Marc.
Okay, speak, expound a little bit about it.
Oh, well, Marc, I must admit that I never believed in my life the day you walked up to me almost 10 years ago and told me that you wanted to write a book. You scared the hell out of me. I didn't even know you could write. I knew you read, but I didn't know that you had ever written anything. And it was kind of frightening for me. But you seemed really convinced that it was something that you could do. And I had to figure out a way that the two of us might work together and make this thing happen. Now, you said a little bit about the technique that we used, but it just seemed to work perfectly. That the material for that book, Marc and I never met one time in 4 months, face to face, to discuss anything. Everything was done through email. And Marc already told you that he was able to learn how to do the work on Word, which made it was very difficult at first because writing was extremely difficult for him. But he learned how to, in a fashion, use Word to write. And so what I decided to do was just begin in the beginning. And the first thing I said to Marc was, Marc, if you really want to write a book, I'll stick with you. And I did. And what I told him to do was just simply tell me the story of your life and let me know what happened when you were first born. And he sat down and he wrote three sentences. And I wrote back to him and I told him, Marc, that's great. You're off to a terrific start. I'm really happy for you. He says, okay, what do I do next? And this is the technique we used through 4 months. Once Marc got the idea, all he waited for was me to give him a push. And he amazingly, in 4 months, put together enough material for me to be able to fashion a story out of it. But every word that you read in that book is Marc's, not mine. And I thought it was one of the first books at that time. Most of the books were being written by mothers or fathers or uncles or aunts. And they were telling the story of their, whoever it was that they wanted to tell about. But I said, this is pure Marc. And I was very proud of him. And that's how he became an author. It was just a beautiful developmental thing. And the best thing that came out of it, I learned not to doubt when somebody says something that they're going to do and it sounds impossible. Don't doubt it, okay? You can't tell what's going to happen. And that's exactly the story of Marc and our relationship. And I'm very proud of the guy.
Bob, can I ask you something?
Absolutely.
I think I got you again. What were your comments to me when I said to you, I think I want to move out to your Los Angeles? Be honest. What were your thoughts?
What's my thoughts? I said, Marc, I said, I don't think you're ready for this, to get out there on your own. There's no real support system for you out there. I had become Marc's father, and I was very protective of him. And he scared me. He really did. And I did, I'm sorry to say, I did my best to keep him here in Miami because at least I knew we could work together and be together. And I'm totally amazed, as you are, how Marc on his own just, he did it. He absolutely did it. He was amazing, amazing. And I'm waiting for him to get that next job. Just waiting for that next job to come, and it will. It will. He's going to make that dream come true.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Bob, for sharing. This is
Sure.
incredible. Gosh, Marc, I don't even know what to say. I mean, tell us a little bit more about, not only did you move to Los Angeles and then the global pandemic hits. So tell us what you did during COVID to stay productive, and maybe a little bit more about the acting classes that you mentioned.
Okay.
A little bit.
Yes. Well, I came out here, and I was just like, immediately I started making connections, just talking to people, and just basically people were wowed about the fact that I wrote the book and I wanted to help others. One of my biggest connections, not to mention just being, that's a big connection, being out in Performing Arts Studio West. I have an agent and we're always getting, casted, just like people in the industry are getting a casting. And I have a few things in the work, but another connection was I met the manager and one of the band members of Earth, Wind, and Fire. I happened to pick up one of the band members because I drive for Uber, and I picked him up on the ride, and we just got to talking. I told him about what I do. I'm disabled. I wrote, when he talked about his disability, I told him about mine, and I told him that I wrote a book. He was wowed, so he called his manager, and the manager called me. By the way, they're doing some kind of a tour, but we're going to try to put some kind of a show together. He really wants, with me with autism, and Sheldon, one of the band members on his first stages of Alzheimer, put some kind of a show together. People implementing people with talking about disabilities. Wants to start off with some kind of a radio show. So I have that as a possibility, and I am in a Saturday classes called Born to Act Players, and there's a film producer that's been coming that's interested in putting us in the film. So it's just like, this is LA. This is where it happens. If you want to be in the film industry, especially being disabled, this is the place to live. And I'm not moving from here, but I do travel back and forth to Florida because I have mishpucha, I have family down there. So I do go quite often, like 3 times a year. I'll be going again for my mom's birthday in August. And is she on here? Is my mother on here?
Yes, but you're not video. You can see her name, but not video.
Okay, so she's got her video on. It's not on, but just
Audio. They can't figure out how to get the.
Okay, I guess she's having a bad hair day. Doesn't want to be on video, I guess.
It's up here.
Rebecca,
Yes.
Rebecca,
For me, Jeff? Yes.
yes, I'm Marc's brother, and I'd like to say I'm really proud of my brother Marc. And to my cousin Bob, Marc has proved the old axiom, the impossible takes a little longer.
Mhm. Yes. Oh, well,
Well done, Marcus.
Thanks, Jeff.
Well,
Yeah, Marc, you've come leaps and bounds from, I've known you since you were a little tiny little thing. And you've just come out of your shell, you've blossomed, and it is just so wonderful to see how you have such self-confidence now and you're engaging with other people. It's just remarkable. We're very proud of you.
Yeah, I know. I used to just sit in a corner, you know, and when you had company and didn't really talk to nobody, I remember.
And now you engage with everyone. You interact with all of our friends when you come to visit. We live up north. So good for you.
Marc was the one who organically reached out to us and found us. So we love Marc for, definitely your family has so much to be proud of, Marc. This is really an amazing accomplishment of all that you've done to create this life for yourself in LA. And we're happy to spread the word too, that this can be possible for our community. And we're 18 years old now, Autism Tree. So like Dana has mentioned before, we've raised one generation and now we're raising the next. A lot of the kids that were diagnosed when we first were founded are now going on to college and to get jobs. And so this is really on our hearts and minds moving forward, is we want to show as many positive examples and role models, that there's a million different ways to live a fulfilling life. And it doesn't matter what age you are, to make your dreams come true and to pursue those. So Marc, thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your story with us.
It's my pleasure to. It's my pleasure.
Well, I'd love to, if anybody has any other questions for Marc, you can always reach out to me directly. I'll send the follow-up email via email to everybody who RSVP'd. We'll include Marc's contact information as well, so you can reach out to Marc if you have any questions. We'd be happy to answer them for you. I'd love to take a group picture of everyone before we go. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. If you wanted to turn on your camera, now is the time. I think we have pretty much everybody. Awesome. Great group today. All right, everyone, big smile, and I'll do a script shot.
Nancy's name.
All right.
Nancy Bernstein.
I see Nancy. Nancy Bernstein, thanks for commenting. Mom and Nancy are watching and proud, all caps. That warms my heart. I love it. All right, everyone, big smile. Buddy, 1, 2, 3. Wonderful. All right, everyone. Well, Marc, any last words to say?
Yes, I'm just basically honored and privileged to be here and just having all my family members and some friends that are a part of this. And can you send me the link to this so others who haven't seen it, I can share it?
Oh, yes. Thank you for bringing that up. We are recording this and we'll post it on our YouTube channel. So anybody can feel free to watch it and share it.
I have one last thing I wanted to give a shout out. Big love and happy birthday to Karen Wright. If you all do not know her, Karen's been with us all 18 years. She is the head of our ministry. And it doesn't matter what religion someone is, what beliefs they have. Karen's gift to the world, as long as I have known her, is to meet someone where they are when they need that extra encouragement. We always have someone in our family tree that is going through times that require, help and guidance. And Karen is our guiding light. And she just does, there's no way to quantify it, but I would love everyone to sing happy birthday with me. Is that possible? Rebecca, can we sing are we able to do that? Okay. You started, Rebecca. Can everyone sing to Karen? That would be really great.
Yes, let's do it. I'll start.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Karen.
Happy birthday. Love you, Karen. We couldn't live without you at Autism Tree.
And many more.
That was
Love it.
beautiful.
Thank you, Marc and family, and everyone for being here today. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Guys.
Take care, everyone. Nice
Bye,
meeting you.
Terrence.
Bye.
You know, wave goodbye, say goodbye.